Glory to Jesus Christ. This very powerful parable we just heard, because this parable really touches or hits something, some inclination which is in soul of each person. Because each of us has this some kind of desire to secure our life. It is in us, and it's something what is somehow natural, because we have to protect our life. But even these mechanisms God put to our being, what should protect us, protect our life, after fall, it became deformed and lives in different way than it was supposed for them to live or act. And this is why we really try to do things to somehow protect, secure our life. And we can tell that, well, we are too far from the situation of that rich man who was so, he had this fortune that the fields brought him this great harvest that really he didn't need to care about the rest of his life. We can say we are far from this situation, but it doesn't mean that it is not in us. And I am not talking now about, and Christ was not talking in this parable about some kind of sin. He was talking about this inclination which can use even good intentions and good ideas, and they turn them to some kind of those many projects in our life which would take away our mind and our focus from Christ. And this is what happened very often. This is why St. Ephraim the Syrian, in his advices to monks, he gives them one advice, and I think that it is good advice for us too. He says, do only what is your responsibility. Do only what was given you as an order, means under obedience. Don't do more. And always remember that God sees everything. So approach everything with fear of God and with faith. And we can say, well, this is something strange advice. We should do only what is our responsibility and do not do more. And it goes against like some kind of settings in our mind, because the world pushes us. You have to work more to be productive, use each minute. And last week I started to search for some kind of this application which would manage my task, because I have to put something to order in my life. And I found out that it is so many of those things and so many instructions how to use that. And everything was like marked to increase your productivity. I said, well, I don't want that. I just don't want to forget things, But it is amazing how huge this impact of the world it is, that to use correctly time and fill almost everything in correct way, correct activities, may we are able to achieve more, everything more. And actually, when I was reading those things, I started to think, if I listen to this, so that it means they're a very lazy person, because I don't use this time as it is written. And I started to play with this idea. Maybe follow these rules. For sure, some of them would be good. But this I'm saying that we are under stress. This mentality of the world gives us this idea that we have success when we are productive, when we do a lot of, when we achieve a lot of. But this is something what starts this inclination which is in us to pile up things, to come to some kind of this satisfaction that I secure my life very well. And this is very dangerous. And Saint Ephraim explains this to monks. He said, when you do only what is your responsibility, and you measure each your activity, that God sees that with fear and with faith. When you do this, so then you will not flood your life with things of this world, and you will have always time for what is the most important, to enter to this relationship with God. To enter relationship with God. And if we follow this advice and we make advice of these who are experts for managing of time, if you say, I just mark what is my responsibility. Responsibility which comes from my job. Responsibility which comes from my state. I mean, if I am father, mother, so there is a responsibility of parents. If I mark all these responsibilities which I have to carry in correct measure, in the right measure, suddenly I will see a lot of things in my life which are in our life, but they are useless. They don't fit these responsibilities. Those are things that I put to my life because I wanted to be more productive. Or I was following some kind of foolish dream about securing my life. And suddenly I will find that every day there is more time to enter to this deeper relationship with God. And this is difficult because we have to defeat this mentality of the world, which tells us that this would be wasting of time. But is this dwelling in presence of God, this learning how to about Him more, to enter into His presence, is it really wasting of time? Isn't it just preparation for the eternity which is in front of us? If we don't learn how to live an eternal life here, so then we will be very scared when we enter to eternal life, because it will be very strange for us. So let's try to take or think about this advice of Saint Ephraim the Syrian. Do what you are supposed to do. Find out what is your responsibility and don't do more in order to find more time for God. Don't do more. So let's try to follow that and try to see each our activity which we are doing, or desires which push these activities to our life, let's check them under this supervision of God. He sees everything. And in His presence, we can ask, is it really important? Is it important for me to have this activity in my life? If answer is no, get this activity out. And first fruit will be this feeling of real freedom, actually relief. It will vary something what frees us from fears, tensions. But the second fruit will be if we use this time which will be held at our hand for entering to God's presence, will be tasting of something what belongs already to eternal life. And saints, they say, once you taste it, you will not want to go back.